Hey guys, my name is Vijay and I bring you the tool called digital storyboard. Storyboarding is something many artists or game creators or movie makers or animation makers are well aware of. But there are not many tools that can help us which are inexpensive or free. And this is where something I needed a tool, so I created something by myself. So here you can avoid creating art for your storyboarding and pick up the characters that you want to use in your film or story or game and build the story. So you can just have as many images as you have characters in your story or game, and then begin just write the theme or plot of the story, different scenes that will happen in the story, and this is where this will assist. So the grid in front of you that you are seeing in the digital storyboard is where you can place the scenes that you create. So there are two types of uh, boards that you can create here. One is with images so that you can easily remember what scene it is down the line, or without images. So right now the square boxes that you see here, they are all with images kind of scenes. So I will take you through all of it. So how does this work? So this is the tool, this is the interface, and this is the workspace where all your scenes are created. By default you have about 1000 pages, 999 to be precise, which are available for you. It is just like a book where you draw you do the storyboarding or draw the art and create a story, and it is like these 1000 pages are available at your disposal. You can name these pages and as introduction or mid of the scene or end of the scene, wherever you want, and then place the scenes accordingly in those pages. There is a quick reference of characters and variables that you will have to use if it is a, for example, if it's a game, visual novel, or any game that you are creating, you can keep the variables here for reference. Now this is the storyboard. After this you will develop the actual game looking at the draft that you have created. So how does this work? So first thing, that simple thing that you need to do is you need to create a new game or new story, whatever you're creating. For example, I would want to create a game or a visual novel where uh, our hero, um, not listening to his father. Um, our hero, I mean, he's a graduate and doesn't listen to his father and becomes an entrepreneur. Instead of getting into a regular job, he becomes an entrepreneur. After he meets a lady uh, by name Kathy. So let's see, becoming entrepreneur. May not be an interesting story, but yeah, I can still see there is a backslash that is coming in. I will fix this, but this is just a drama. I just want to develop this. So you can select the scene size as small or large. So right now I will select large. Now what are the characters that I can define? So see, when I select large, it means that I will have thumbnails of the images. So image thumbnail that I want to use in the scenes is 35 by 110. So any thumbnail, very small images, because as you see the scene size is very small. You'll have to create an image thumbnail 35 by 110 so that they can be accommodated here. So about 4 images, 35 multiplied by 4 is around 140. So 140 pixel by 110 pixel. The bottom part of this square box, if you look at this square box here, the bottom part of this can be occupied by about 4 character images at any point in time. So this box, the characters, is synonymous to this thumbnails. If you are filling the thumbnails with the images, you don't have to fill characters. The characters will be auto-filled by the name of the images. So always keep your names of the images with the characters. I mean, make the images with the character names, and always prefer PNG. PNG is portable network graphics, which has transparency in place. If only transparency is in place, your scenes will look good. Now, so where do I pick from? Can I just say okay and go from here? I can just say okay. Your game is ready to begin. So, but I want to add some characters. So I will add that. I can create a new scene by clicking here. So you can readily see. So this blue square box is where all your new scenes are created. You might want to drag it and drop wherever you want. So I want my first scene to be here. If I double click this, I can see I may want to give a name to my scene. So introduction, where no character may be there. You just want to give some introduction. Is it important? Then it could be could have mild importance. So this importance is also a color code where your scenes are shown as important or not important. So let's see mild. This is on page number 1. So how many pages are available to me? So I have about 999 pages at my disposal. So I can write a brief about this. I can indicate the characters. I just have to type in the character names, type in the variable names if I'm using. If there is any subsequent scene that this is referring to, I will just have to put those in. What do I mean by subsequent scene? It actually means that your scene upon completion will direct to the next scene. So if you're just writing a film or a movie story, this this doesn't need to be filled, because you know the sequence. One after the scene comes one after the other, so you can just place them in sequence from left to right and top to bottom. So you need know the sequence unless you alter it at some point in time. Moreover, there is an ID that is given to every scene. If you can keep that ID in sequence, and this ID jumps by 5 numbers each time, so that if you want any adjustment scene in between, you can add that. So if the starting scene begins at 5, next one is 10, third one is 15. So if you want a scene between 5 and 10, you can always add 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have four additional choices available at your disposal. Um, and then, so if you're writing a game, then obviously one scene can be revisited by multiple workflows or multiple scenarios. Different scenes can lead to one same scene, or different choices in different scenes can lead to one same scene. So that is where you will just have to give the scene ID. For example, I will take an example. If there are any dialogues that you want to um, put in here, you can put in here, and logic. This is draft logic, that when you're building the actual game, that this logic is looked into and you will actually build it, so that you can write the story and then hand it over to developers and artists to look at the story and develop the characters, and uh, or develop the characters or the logic in coding. So this is page number 1. I will just say introduction. So you can see that there is a ID that has come, there is an introduction that has come. It says there are 0 characters involved in this scene. There are 0 variables, and there are 0 scene. Um, this scene will lead to 0 subsequent scenes, because I haven't filled it yet. So I will create a new scene called 10. Then this is where our he Tom talks to father. Now this is this is also mildly important. I will just put it this way. And unless you closely look at the title, you cannot make out which scene is what. There is a 5, there is a 10, but you want to have in between scene something later at some point in time. So we will look at that. So I want 2 characters to be involved here. So how do I put these characters here? So I will edit this game itself. I will edit the game, and then I will go to thumbnails, and I have created 3 thumbnails, one for Tom, one for Pops, and another for Kathy. Created already 3 of them, 35 by 105. You can see the size. Always limit your characters to this size. standing position, that is better. If they're sitting, because we just want a reference of the characters so that you can identify what characters are involved in this scene. And no other properties are usually are displayed in the scene, so you can just um, select, select, and select. So all these three people are involved. You can note that once you set the size of the scene, you cannot change it because because of multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that the scene size is set and the scene location is set. So if you alter the scene location, um, so you can see, let's look at the characters first. I have added the thumbnails. I did not add the character names. The character names are not added here. But when I press OK, the character names have come for your reference. Is there some function from here for the character names? No, there is no function. It is for your reference. If you can add more characters here, but in large scene modes, which is this one, in large scene storyboarding, if you add characters names manually here, they will be overwritten by the thumbnails. So always better to add thumbnails than character names. So I cannot here put my name, for example, or you know, you just have to add one more thumbnail. It will automatically pick up the character names. So you have three characters. Now I want two characters to be interacting here. I double click this scene and then say Tom and Pops will interact in this character. So Tom will say something. I can say, um, "Hi Pops, I've completed my graduation and want to become an entrepreneur." So he just says this. This is a dialogue that you would want to write something, and Pops says, "Are you crazy? It's not easy to do business. Get into a regular job." Okay, so I just added this. So you can clearly see the scene has two interacting people from left to right. Whatever people you add from top to bottom, they are added here from left to right. Where are these images coming from? These thumbnails are coming from your game details where you have added the thumbnails so that your subsequent scene can be dependent on this. So I can just say this scene is dependent on the ID is about 6 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4. So next scene is this. So you can clearly see that the number of scenes, subsequent scene is 1, and here the characters are 2. Uh, then, but I want to add an adjustment scene here. So in between, I want to add one more scene. So I will say adjustment scene. So I want a scene to be added as 6. 6 could be my adjustment scene. Whatever, after 5 it is 6, right? So you can also add 1, there is nothing wrong with that. But if you add 5, it will not allow. For example, if I say 5, it says the ID already exists. I have a different ID. I will just add 6. So the 6 is added. Now here I can probably say Tom completing graduation. So this is maybe important, may not be important. I will just say Tom is only one involved in this scene. It could be a sequence of shots, but the scene is the same. So it can have multiple shots if you're making a film or a game. The scene could have multiple shots from various angles using the camera, but the scene is one. So it's a context of a specific happening. So in that happening, Tom completed graduation. You can see that if there are more than 22 characters, it is cutting at 22. So yeah, this so try to limit your title to 22 characters, otherwise it will get cut. Um, Even otherwise, you can have your full title, uh, even if it is not shown here. That's okay. Now you can also move this scene. So If you look at this page, the page number is displayed here. There are three scenes in this page, page number one, and you can give a page a name. So this is a very simple um, story that's happening right now. There are only three scenes so far. So there could be probably 10 to 20 scenes or 30 scenes or 50 scenes. So you can clearly see that there are 6 by 4, 24 scenes that can be arranged in one page. So that way you have 999 pages. 999 multiplied by 24 is about 24,000 scenes that you, excuse me, that you can actually arrange in this storyboard. So it's like your storybook where you paint the art and create the story. But you can create certain aspects in certain pages. So in page number one, I just want to show the introduction. So you can just give it a name. I can just click the page name, page number, and then give it a title. So I can go to page two. So I can say that meeting Catherine or Kathy, right? Kathy. So you can click the page to know what is the page name, what is the context of that page, and probably in page number I will add a new scene and say go out of house. So it's moderately important. I will just retain it here in page number one and then move it to, so who is involved in this scene? Only Tom is involved. So this is moderately important. You can see the color code. There is a difference of color code. So I will also add, just to show the color coding, different color codes. Um, Tom goes to bank. So this is a different color code, you can clearly see. So I can drag this here, I can drag this here. I can also say Tom meets Kathy. And then very important, so it could be. So you can see the color codes. This is mild. Uh, this has no importance. Pure white in the background. This has no importance. This is up to you to use the color coding, not for the application to do anything with it, just for your reference, so that you can look at an important scene and quickly you create the important scenes first, and then slowly go back and create the less unimportant scenes as you develop your game or a story or a film. You create the important ones first. So that's up to you. That's how you can arrange your workflow. You can have a page name, you can have a title on your scene, you can have a color code on your scene, you can have thumbnails on your scene, and you can have 24 scenes per page. Now I want this to be in the page number 2. So what I will do is this guy will move the scene to page number 2, and this guy will move the scene to page number 2, move the scene to page number 2. This guy will also move to page number 2. So all these are in page number 2. So they are at the same location as you have already placed them. So there is a possibility that this scene can ride into this scene. So you will not be able to see the which ones are there. So for your quick reference, you can count the number of scenes here. There are three scenes, so some of them may be hiding. So in all, there are 6 by 4, 24 scenes that can be there. So if it says 25 scenes are there, you can just check what is missing. So obviously, when you click on this canvas, whatever is there as a first scene will get selected. So if two scenes are like this, so whatever is there as first scene will get selected, and if you drag it out, only the first scene comes. But this is not the place for this. So this is how they should get arranged in my um, this one, second page. So you know how to create adjustment scene, you know how to create a page, or how to edit the page name, the 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 game name or film name can be, story name can be given here. So after you complete this, you want at some point in time you feel that I need to have a different storyboard itself for developing the subsequent part of the game, or the sequel of the game, sequel of the story, or sequel of the film. I want a different storyboard, but I want my characters to be still the same. So you can just say copy. It will ask you a different file name. So you for example, I save it here, becoming entrepreneur. So I save it here. So it is saved right now. So your save is disabled, that means saved. You can also copy it. You can also copy it where your only characters will be saved, not the entire scenes, only the characters will be saved. So becoming entrepreneur 2. If I save it like this, so metadata is copied, no scenes are copied. So I can simply say, simply go back and open that one, entrepreneur 2. So here there are no scenes. If you go to edit game, so you just have to change the title to 2 and only the characters are there. You can use these characters to develop the subsequent part of the game, where no scenes are. You can start fresh with the same characters. So I reopen my this one, the first one, where the scenes are still there. Page number 2, page number 1. So Tom goes to bank, Tom meets Kathy. So here only Tom is involved. Okay, I think there is a defect, I need to fix it, but here, yes. So here, if I will, just for the sake of the convenience of the video, I will fix this. Okay, so this one also has Tom in it, so I make it Tom. Here he meets Kathy, Tom and Kathy. So this could be seen. So the more cleaner your PNG is, the more cleaner the images will appear here. You can see that these images are not very great, but still manageable because I just have to create a story. So these are manageable. Um, the more clear, or you can leave your ID, leave your the importance of the scene as none, so that the white is retained. So white color is retained, so that white color merges into your not so clean PNGs, and it will still be manageable. So here you cannot notice that this PNG is not very clean, but here it is easily noticeable because you have set the importance of your scene to be very much. Or you can also say final or something like that. This is the final scene, so invalid. You can say the scene is invalid because you have developed it, you have written something, but somewhere you found it is invalid, and you might want to move all your invalid scenes to page 999 somewhere, or 99. If your story is a small one, you can move all your invalid scenes to page 99, right? You can say this is an invalid content. So whatever is invalid, you just move it to 99, right? So later you might want to pick up from there, or you can just delete that scene. Page 99 is what? So here it is. It's not invalid. I will mark it as backup, or it's important, or probably very much, and then page 2, right? So it has come back to page 2 now. So export is something I'm still working on. I haven't implemented it yet. So you can create a new game, a new storyboard, open storyboard, save, copy the storyboard, and then these are the functions that are available. Variables are something that you want to add. If it is a game, the variables make more sense to you, just to keep track of what you want to do, and just to keep track of the scenes that might be linked, because if you have a huge game, then to track the scenes that can happen is very difficult. To track the scenes that are the consequence of your current scene is very difficult. So you can list out the IDs of the scenes here, and then dialogues that you want to have between characters, and then the logic that you want to put in here, any other ideas that you want to have in this specific scenario or scene. So everything that can go here, you can just give a brief, um, and put the characters, and then if you're just developing a small film or a story, then you can just give a brief, give character names, and then just end it. Later you can develop it in your original work or actual work that you're doing. So thanks for watching. I hope this tool will help you in developing your games.